Jason Johnson here, ABS Supply, where innovation never sleeps. I wanted to talk today a little bit about media. So I've got some samples of different stuff here. We're just going to kind of run through them and what applications. It's a question we get asked daily, multiple times every day. I'm blasting a 65 Mustang. What should I use? I'm blasting a Bobcat trailer. What should I use? Well, there's so many variables that go into it. We'll try and cover a few of these today so you know what media is right for you, because using the right media for the job can save you thousands and thousands of dollars and a lot of time and headaches. So stick around, we'll go through this, be patient, and we will get the media that is right for you and is going to save you money on your next job. So let's just start at this end and walk through them, see what we got here. Starblast. This is the Gulf Coast cyclone. This stuff comes from one mine down in the panhandle of Florida and all up and down the Gulf Coast. Bang for the buck. This is an amazing grit. Works really well. The problem is logistics. By the time you ship it up where we are in Minnesota, Garnet, aluminum oxide, so many other things are so more cost effective. But if you're in the Gulf Coast, one pass media, something that you want about 1.5 mil profile, this is fantastic. It basically comes in like an 80-120 mesh. And it is a one pass media, cuts like a son of a gun, relatively lower on dust. But good for all types of metals, ferrous and non. But in our world, we see very little of it other than what's spec'd in on prints and things for military or jobs, just because it's not cost effective to ship north of the Mason-Dixon line. Next, what do we got? Oh, aluminum oxide. This is your super gym rat. This guy, pound for pound, it's like the Tasmanian devil. This stuff cuts like a banshee and is recyclable 6 to 8 times, somewhere in that range. Fantastic for blast cabinets, even blast rooms where you have a mix of ferrous and non-ferrous medias or parts you're blasting. This will work on all of them. But it is probably the most expensive. Yep, on this table, pound for pound, this is the most expensive media we have. And at 6 to 8 passes, you better have it in the right application. Otherwise, you'll go broke using something that costs a couple $1,000 a ton. Next, coal slag. All right, here is your blue collar workhorse right here. Volume-wise, the most largely sold media all across the United States. It cuts fast, it gets the job done, but you know what? It's a little gritty, it's a little dirty, and for really fine profiles, not your best pick. It's hard to get below about a 2.5 mil profile with this media just because of the sizing. It's so friable. When you crush it, it doesn't go really much finer than 60 grit without turning to a lot of flour, and black flour blasting, not good, not pretty. So, but this, one pass, doing something outside where I don't have to pick it up, holy cow, bang for the buck. Like I said, the blue collar worker that just gets stuff done. Baking soda, niche media. You don't see as much of this as you used to. It was huge when they did the whole Statue of Liberty project. I'm probably dating myself because some of you might not have even been born when they did that, when they reblasted it. But this is what gave baking soda the kickoff, where they started using it on everything. Long story short, it doesn't like paint, so if you don't get it all off, it's a nightmare. It's caustic. It kills shrubs, bushes, things like that. You still see it in places where you don't want to leave a profile on the metal, and it might be a greasy, oily part. It'll clean and degrease at one time. Removes paint and coatings, but will not etch metal. It's also probably most common in mold remediation and fire restoration jobs. That's where you see the bulk of it used today, because it'll clean and deodorize all in one. And yes, it is the same as that Arm & Hammer box that's in the back of your fridge that you haven't looked at in the last 6 months. This is the same stuff. We just sell it by the ton. Glass bead. Oh, here's the princess of the crew. So this stuff, pretty finishes, stainless steel, doesn't do a lot of cutting, doesn't do a lot of work, but likes to leave everything shiny and looking good. It comes in a whole variety of sizes depending on what you're doing. But, you know, a medium size in like a 7100 range, that's probably your most common workhorse. Widely used in all your stainless steel fab industries and all your food processing equipment, people doing stuff like that to remove slight handling marks and weld discoloration. But it won't really polish. People think often this will like bring it shiny like I buffed it. No, it's still going to leave kind of a a matte or dull finish, but it'll be consistent, take out weld burn and slight handling marks. Ooh, log glass. One of my favorite, crushed glass in general. This comes in so many sizes, shapes, varieties. It can be recycled windshield or all those beer bottles that you drank last weekend, that could be in here too. So it's a one-pass media designed for outside, really good when you've got something light gauge you don't want to warp. Cars, fan favorite, fantastic on auto restoration because it doesn't generate the heat to warp a part, but also it still will leave you with like that 0.5 mil, 1 mil profile. It's perfect to go right to primer. So this on a car, the right pressure, dry, perfect application. We sell as much of it for that as anything. But it's also used on steel, stainless, aluminum. Powder coaters love to use it on aluminum parts because it doesn't give them too deep of an etch prior to painting. And log homes. This specific bottle you're looking at is our grit for log homes. This stuff, what makes this different than all the other grits of crushed glass that we stock, it's magnetically separated, one, so that there's no fines or metal or shavings from the processing in there. So if you've ever blasted a log home with standard crushed glass and it got rained on before you stained it or sealed it, guess what? Your home looks freckled. That's from the metal in the processing. It's really easy to tell if the glass you have has been contaminated or not. Take a magnet, stick it in there. If it comes out clean, it's clean glass. If it doesn't, that's a liability when you're blasting a log home. So the grit size here, specifically formulated for log homes, magnetically separated to eliminate that potential for water and freckles on your home. This is the ideal for any wood-sided log home glass, this specific batch I'm holding here. Garnet, love it. Not only is it used for water jet cutting, it's 60 to 100,000 psi with water and injected to cut metal parts, but this is a fantastic blasting media. Widely used in a lot of powder coaters where they're doing multi-metals, from aluminums to steels, things like that, where they want a light etch because they can run an 80 grit, recycle it 3-4 times, and still get that light 1 mil or less etch for powder coat on multi-metals. Fantastic. And you know what? The big heavy stuff, it rips and tears on new steel. Tanks, exteriors, things like that. Anywhere you can recycle it or not, you can make a case that this, because of the speed it cuts, that this is a viable media. Steel shot, not very often used in air blast. A little bit of peening, things like that. This is mostly used in wheel blast applications where we're throwing higher volumes at higher velocities than we can achieve with compressed air. But in your big fabricators with wheel machines where they're automatically running it through, we sell truckloads and truckloads of this in different sizes and shapes, depending on how deep an etch, how heavy a scale you're trying to remove. And this one, steel grit, this is what's used in air blast. This is, despite what some of the other people will tell you out there, specifically the other distributors that are getting paid to pitch Garnet only, this is the cheapest media to use to blast, cost per square foot, period, when you can use it. When you're blasting steel parts, when you have reclaim, can clean it and recycle it, there's nothing that's more economical to blast with than steel grit. And you know what? Pound for pound, it's like that heavyweight boxer. It just hits hard. And at 100 recycles, this stuff costs pennies to use. Corn cob. Iowa. That's where we get it. I know, surprising, isn't it? But yeah, not a ton of use for this. Every once in a while when we get someone that needs to remove some paint, maybe on an interior, a lot of people ask about using this on log homes. Not recommended. One, I'll tell you why. The glass gets you a finer finish. Your log house will look like you drug it down a gravel road when you're done. And also, it's organic. So all those little cracks and seams and everything in your house that occur naturally, they get jam-packed with this stuff. If you don't get every little bit out and then you seal it over, you now have something organic that molds, rots, and will cause coating failure from underneath and inside out in your log. Horrible idea for a home. Walnut shells, same thing. Don't use it on a home for the exact same reason. Looks like crap compared to glass. It's organic. It sticks in your house. It's a potential coating failure. And anyone that's got a nut allergy, what do you think this is? It's all nuts. Horrible idea. But there are a few uses where removing coatings, paints, things from aluminum, light gauge parts, where you don't want to warp, don't want to put any etch in it, but I just need to do a light coating removal, you can make a case for walnut and corncob, but they're really niche medias, not used a lot. All right, so let's sum this up. What do we got here? We'll kind of go through them real quickly, give you a little anecdote, maybe you can remember them by. Like I said, this is the Gulf Coast Hurricane Starblast. Great if you're in that area. If you're not really cost effective. Aluminum oxide, the heavyweight gym rat. This is the guy that lives there. Hard hitting, punching, never quits. Recycles 6 to 8 times. Fantastic in cabinets for multi-metals. Coal slag. This is your redneck blue collar worker right here. This guy just gets shit done. And at a low cost is economical. He may be dirty, may smoke a lot, cause a lot of dust, but at the end of the day, you get a really good blast for not a lot of money. Baking soda, prima donna, flash in the pan, okay? Degreases, cleans, doesn't remove anything, but it is caustic, so you got to clean it all up or it's going to leave a nightmare, kind of like your ex-wife. Glass bead, this is the princess. This is the prima donna. Anything pretty, anything cosmetic where we're blasting it and we're not going to coat it. We want it to kind of shine, not a polish shine, but it will look much better than a dull gray angular cut. So, compared to the crushed glass, this is going to give you your duller gray, but this is kind of the Swiss Army knife of everything. It'll do steel, it'll do aluminum, it'll do stainless, it'll do all the above and log homes all in one. So, kind of middle of the road for pricing, middle of the road for cut rate, but you can use it on anything. Garnet. I don't know what we call garnet, but this stuff is like your pound for pound, your middleweight fighter. This stuff here again does it all. Ideally, when it can be recycled a couple, 3 times, it proves a really good value. But it's fast enough, hard hitting enough on new steel that you can cost justify it for single pass medias. Steel shot BBs, not a great idea with air blast, but wheel blast, hands down, the most economical, best media to use for wheel. That's a whole nother topic, but it brings up a good point to talk about compared to the grit, where grit is made for air blast. That is pound for pound, the cheapest media, cost per square foot to use, where you can use it, meaning you got to be able to catch it and you're blasting steel. If you're doing those things, there's nothing cheaper to blast with than this bad boy. It's the heavyweight fighter, packs the heaviest punch and goes the most rounds, 100 plus in recycles. We'll put corncob and walnut into kind of the same category. They're both organics. The walnut shells come from California, where they grow. The corncob comes from Iowa, where a lot of it grows. Light coating removal, light paint, specialty niche things where I don't want to create dust, things like that, but not very universally used. So give us a call to talk about these. Most likely these aren't going to be the best bang for the buck, but there are places they make sense, so we can talk about it. As always, I've just scratched the surface on media. I've only talked about a few applications on a few products. There's so many other shapes, sizes, and things that get into the niche worlds. The best bet is just give us a call at ABS. You can look us up online, but shoot us an email, get on the phone. We love to talk applications, and we're glad to share everything we've learned over the last 30 years of doing this. Have a great day, and I'll see you out there. I'm having a blast.
Oh.